What comes to mind when you hear the word fan? Some of you may picture people banging their heads at the front of a rock concert. Others of you may picture stadiums and jerseys and season tickets. Whatever your initial thought may be, these people have one thing in common. They're part of fandoms. Fandoms are so much more than people engaging in something from time to time. In fact, they're more or less people making that thing their entire personality. And I'm completely unashamed of doing the same. I mean, my choir class did give me the Fangirl Award. I've seen my favorite band 12 times in 5 states. You'd think that with that much traveling, I'd have a billion friends who also like the same band, right? Well, while that is the case today, it hasn't always. Growing up in a small town, I never really had a lot of people who had the same interests. I was, in fact, teased a lot for being so passionate about music, and I began to crave people who wouldn't get bored at me talking about what I loved. So I had to find my people, and I did. 2016 marked the beginning of my true experience of fandom. I logged on, chose a really embarrassing username, and began following any and all accounts I could. From there came Hannah, the first internet friend I ever met in person. It turned out that she only lived an hour and a half away and was going to the same concert I was. It was that same year that I had a major hip surgery, and fandom got me through that time. Hannah visited me in the hospital, and I even got a follow on social media from one of our favorite band members. Even when I was stuck between the 4 walls of my room, I had something to smile about. Fandom couldn't have come at a better time. My internet friends have continued to show up for me even if they can't physically be there. Hannah and I have had the privilege of going to concerts together and spending time together, but I know that not all internet friends will have that ability. But this doesn't diminish the support we give each other online. The internet allows us to be who we want to be, both good and bad. And it's reasonable to think that anyone can fabricate almost anything. But the truth is that most people are just there to show their support for the people and music they love. There comes an issue when the internet has different ideas about what fandom should or shouldn't be, what fans should or shouldn't look like, which includes the people who think pop music is all about the pretty boys. The news also has different ideas about what fandom is and often portrays it as something new or outlandish. But the fact is that fandom isn't new. People have used music to unite people in times of war and uncertainty and bring people of different backgrounds together. When I entered fandom spaces, I began to notice the similarities and differences between myself and other fans. For example, even fans in countries that have little to no tour dates are so passionate about the music and the people that make it. And they use that passion for other things too. Over the years, fans have partnered with national organizations to encourage voting and raise awareness for the causes they see as important. They vote, spread awareness, and sign petitions. And it's easy to think that in a world of 7 billion people, our actions won't make an ounce of difference. But when you consider that one person can turn into 2, 2 into 20, and 20 into 20,000, it begins to seem less like something you're doing alone. Even though I was comfortable in fandom spaces, I began to notice something missing. Disabled fans encounter many inaccessible things, including concert venues. This affects how we're able to participate in fandom. And especially with the rise of the pandemic, people have been restricted to showing their support online, and that can be extremely isolating. We're not supporting in the background. We just haven't had the chance to be at the forefront. This is why, in 2016, me and other disabled fans created a hashtag for disabled fans in our fandom. To our complete surprise, it trended in both the US and the UK. But that definitely wasn't the end. In 2018, when I was 15 years old, I noticed my favorite band was about to go on tour and people were creating fan projects for the shows. I saw an opportunity. I began to move the hashtag from a hashtag into an organization at the intersection of fan culture, music, and disability. To say that I was passionate about it is a little bit of an understatement. I remember quite many afternoons where I would go right past my homework and just straight to something I wasn't even getting paid for. But my passion cannot be understated. We hope that our work helps to create a more inclusive and accessible version of fandom through education that both unites and helps and creates fun for all fans of all abilities. I've had the privilege of working with fans from Los Angeles, London, and all over the world. In 2019, we created a book of personal anecdotes from fans of all abilities and gave it to the drummer of our favorite band. This was a stark reminder of why I do what I do and why I've held on to fandoms for so long. Fandoms provide a sense of gratification from when you finally get that spot on the barricade, from when you finally meet that friend that you've had for so long, from knowing that you, yes, you, can make a difference. I want to spend my life making future generations of music fans happy. I don't care if I'm touring with the world's latest and greatest or still selling merch for local bands. What matters is that I'm putting smiles on faces, that I'm helping people experience the music that they so deeply care about. Because music is a universal language, and I believe that everyone deserves to feel the power of it. For me, it's never been about being my favorite band's favorite fan, or the money, or the followers, or the bullet points on my resume. It's always been about giving back to the people who have undoubtedly helped me find myself. Even if you have an interest that is a little niche, wacky, or out there, understand that there may be 1 billion people out there who also have that same interest, and they could be in your backyard. So if there's one thing we can learn from fandoms, is that you should take your interest by the horns. Be unashamed about it. Tell your friends, family, people on the street. You never know what your passion can become. You can be the first person to follow that new fan account, or the reason that that kid with the guitar gets his first show. And you can be the reason someone else does the same. Thank you.